This is the John Hallett Podcast with John Hallett.
Because the way we're living, we need to change it, make a change today, and all learn from failure. Maybe they just wanted it a little bit more than you. That's probably the fact.
And now your host, John Hallett.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It is a quick one today. We've got a short week here. Josh, Nick, and Bill and I are off to Minnesota to do some more concealed carry training. Should be fun. Looking forward to that, and bring some good back. Good back. Josh, get a good back. Nobody's ever said that.
No.
You got a hairy back. Okay, that's too much.
Slow down.
That's
here.
too much for the
There's
podcast.
too much.
Slow down, John.
Right.
I was just telling you to talk about travel.
And the next thing I know, we're talking about how I look like some sort of Neanderthal.
You are a Neanderthal. You don't know how many Bigfoot sightings have been, especially with your hair.
Hey,
I was looking at your profile picture the other day. You are so clean cut.
Yeah, I know.
You've got a little scrub.
What? No, I'm growing it out. I grow it out for the winter, and I'm really lazy about the haircuts. I got pretty hair. What do you want me to say?
I got pretty hair.
All you
have to do is say, my wife makes me do it. She likes it. And then I'm like, okay, yeah, cool.
No, she's actually the one that said, she goes, before you go on this training, are you gotta go get yourself a little haircut? You gotta maybe cut some of that off?
I think you should get a buzz.
No, she would really be pissed.
No.
You
told me to get
Dude, no. There's nothing good about seeing me bald, or at least close to bald. Could you imagine what that would look like? Then, people think aliens had invaded the planet.
Who knows?
It's awful. You don't want to see that.
Traveling brings some good stuff back to Rocky Mountain here. Update on the TikTok video we're trying to submit to TikTok to see or ask the guy politely could he remove it because it's affecting my business. It's just crazy about somebody expressing their right to say whatever. I'm getting 10 calls on average per day, and at least one or two of those are threatening. I had a guy yesterday, should I bring what did I tell you? He wanted to fight me.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to fight, and then he was wondering if he should bring guns. And he kind of came around, but he was still threatening to bring guns here, and that he didn't need to come to whoop some ass and whatever. It's just getting a little old at this point, and it's not going to. People are like, hope it goes down. I'm like, yeah, I don't get so many calls on the weekends. We had 12 total and maybe an online form. But once people got back to work on Monday, it starting on East Coast time zones. I'm getting them. So I've been trying to make the best out of it, but this is just time and money, and being threatened or called a racist yourself is just getting old of defending myself. So I asked the guy to take it down. I mean, I'm sure there's other, I don't know what, it seems like the majority of them are coming from TikTok. Mm-hmm. But, guys, the algorithm will keep feeding people. I hope it gets less. It's going to continue to feed people that it hits, and that's what the algorithm does. So I don't expect it to go away. So I'm trying to do something to get, contact. I mean, goodness gracious, trying to contact TikTok and actually, can you talk to somebody?
Yeah.
All you can do is report the video, and they don't even let you comment and elaborate. It's all cookie cutter crap that they have you do.
And it has to go to some sort of adjudication. Somebody's looking at the stuff, and then it goes through probably a bunch of filters, and then somebody maybe
it's probably just okay. They probably had one report, so who cares? So I've got to figure out what I can do there, but that's big fun. Big fun. We've got our training coming up, and the other thing, I really hope. I said to my wife this on Sunday, I guess it was. Hope people smarten up, because this world just seems to get more ridiculous as we go, more divided. this election, I'm quite nervous about, because I think the Democratic Party people is not the Democratic Party that people, just the party lines scare me, and I've said it again. Hey, I think Trump is divisive. I was listening to Tucker Carlson on Sean Ryan and just talking how people just are so irrational about Trump. That's why I don't think he's a good pick.
But
I think he's way better than Biden and the machine that has become the Democratic Party, which I don't feel that they are anymore. I really feel like they don't stand up to even 8 years ago. Never mind 16 years ago. It worries me that people just want soft and easy. We see that in
all the time.
All the time. I had an asphalt guy come by and looking for work, and he's what did he say? I don't know if I've ever heard this one. He said he was thinking about, I think about working out, but I don't want to take all the muscles away from anybody that really wants them. Something to that effect. I'm like, hey, all right. I know you're just
wow.
Talking and trying to make small talk, and I'm like, I know you're not coming to my gym.
Yeah.
You don't live in Castle Rock. You're not gonna commute here.
It's hard enough to get people who live in Castle Rock to come.
So, but people want it soft and easy,
Yeah.
and that goes with just bearing your head in the sand about everything that's going on. It's back to that hardening the grid. I was talking about that. People didn't really want to talk about it for the most part.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about the grid going down. But we could do things. We could harden the grid.
It could be ready.
But people don't want to do that stuff. So it really just concerns me. And then it goes, I want to buy 5,000 acres in Montana and
just live off it, the land, yeah.
Yeah, I need some partners. There's a piece of property for $16-something million. But it's 5,000 acres.
Oh my gosh!
And it's got a couple cabins, and it's all said. It looks like somebody was using it as an outfitter. I'm like, I don't know what outfitter, or maybe they were leasing it. Who knows?
Yeah, probably a hunting
lodge.
lodge.
16 there. I think it's a pretty good value for 5,000 acres, and they had parcels of it that you could subdivide. And for I think there were like 40 acres, and it goes to my dream of creating your own community, having community garden, farm, and
right.
5,000 acres.
It's
really not that bad when you look at, hey, could you find 30? Could you find 16?
Well, if you farm some of it, you get some of those farm tax breaks, whatever they got, maybe sell everybody that invests in. But it's sad that you've gotten to the point where you feel like you've got to get away. Right? You got to get away from the place that you work and live. You got to get out of this state, right? Because it has just been so oppressive. And I'm really worried about the future. Our state's following California. I was talking to my good buddy Todd Trotline from Rev Gear. He's been my rep for 22 years or something, maybe more. He's with them, and they just moved to Texas. Which, Joe Rogan say don't move to Texas. And they cited that they wanted to be more central for shipping, but also like the shipping, what it was costing them out of Cal, and the added taxes, the gas tax or something that was going on. So they wanted to be more central, but they also, just the regulation in California was just getting crazy. Yeah. So there was like those kind of two reasons that they wanted to, that just solidified, hey, we're going to move our entire company to a different state. It is hard enough to move. I moved a half a mile. Yeah. And it was, oh my God, that was tough. Yeah. Moving your business a half a mile, never mind going, I think he said they thought that, trying to logistically do it, they're like, oh, we had these orders show up, so they showed up in California. We had to just turn around and send it to Texas. He's like, hey, it's going to be like 5 days or so.
for this order. I'm like, totally understand.
Yeah.
Not a huge deal. Ship it when you guys get settled in Texas.
He was up front. I mean, that's the best you can be about it. But I mean, imagine having to give up the state you were in, right? Having to move, having to make those choices.
People just want to live their life, and I'm with you. I don't want to have to think about these things, but you know, our politicians are scary. I was listening to is it Ramaswamy? I can't remember.
Vivek Ramaswamy.
He was on Sean Ryan recounting his 2024 campaign, and I thought he had. I like the guy when I heard stuff, and he just said, "Okay, we need term limits, but none of them are going to vote for it. So why don't we just grandfather them in? You know, in 10 years or so, it'll take care of itself. If not, we're just going to keep going." I'm like, yes, because so many people think we should have term limits, but none of them want to vote for it because it affects them.
Yeah, and the power.
And I mean, what's the integrity of that? I mean, that's an integrity test right there. But yeah, hey, grandfather them in. At least we'll start to cycle them out as they get voted out, or just retire out. I thought that was a great idea. I think he's got some really good ideas, and you know, making the government smaller. I mean, send it back to the people. Why do we have the Department of Education, and what is their budget?
It's bigger than most countries' gross domestic products.
And what are they doing?
I mean, they're building all these departments all kind of scare me, because in all government, Department of Transportation, Department of Education, Department of Agriculture, all these departments, you know, there's just these big government bodies that make decisions for everybody else, right? And usually they're so far and removed from the people that they're making policy for, right? That it's kind of crazy. Plus, these are usually non-elected positions, right? They're people that are assigned by folks that you did vote for, right? So you can get anybody in there, and there's people that chase power and wealth. And if there's money and wealth in being a government agent, who would ever want to be out of government?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, this whole government, some of these big, all these organizations, organizations, all these different things. Guess what their budget is for 2023?
Is it in the billions? $100 billion. I don't know.
$88.3 billion.
Holy crap.
And I can't even tell you really what they're really doing. What do they need to be doing that the local town and the people in that town aren't doing for their kids? I mean, it goes, my wife and we were talking about, when we were hiking this weekend, we did a good 5-mile hike up near Frisco, and school vouchers and getting your tax money to go somewhere else. I'm like, no, can we invest in our own public school and making that great versus I'm going to start a charter, I'm going to do this. And hey, if you have the money to go to some private school, then great, you can pay for that, and you can leave that money in the local schools here, I think. I mean, take your tax money out and back and forth, but we just see the public school system being eroded because we're going to start a charter, we're going to do this, and nobody's really invested in that local school. And here in Castle Rock, we have so many elementary schools. I mean, there's 2 big middle schools. There's a ton of elementary schools.
Is there?
2 big high schools.
I knew that.
And then there's, the charters. I mean, there's...
I don't know what the charter is. I'm not...
That charter, there's Renaissance, whatever they call that now. They have a high school. And I believe Academy charter goes to high school now, I think. But it all just erodes. Like, why can't we invest in our school? And if you have the money, then go ahead and go start your own school. But can we leave that? I mean, what is it that's coming out of your yearly tax? I don't think it's that big, and it's probably not affecting that person's wallet. And education is so huge. But $88 billion, what are they really doing?
I would love to have 1% of their budget.
Like, what are they really doing?
I mean, could you imagine just having 1% of that budget? What we'd be able to just
that
do.
the state or the local town couldn't be doing.
Yeah.
I mean, don't we have the Douglas County School District?
Well, the thing
What
is,
are they doing? Like, what is the U.S. Department of Education actually doing?
so we give the Department of Education $88 billion, right? And then they give money back to schools. Is generally the idea, but anytime the government
decisions.
gives you money, right, you have to start doing what they ask, because they now become the rich uncle in it, right? If you want this money, you have to do X, right? And I think a lot of parents don't like the current atmosphere and culture at some of these public schools because they've gone to. I don't even know if most kids would be able to name the first 3 presidents. You know what I'm saying? So the money continue funneling into these systems. These systems keep cranking out kids, and these kids still don't know basic arithmetic. You know, they lack critical thinking skills. And I think that's where the voucher system comes into play. I think parents really do want another choice, because you don't get a lot of school choice when you get government involved.
Yeah, I mean, the government gets involved
With everything. I mean, I don't have kids, but I pay taxes for schools. I mean, I don't get a voucher for not wanting to pay taxes. You know, I don't get a voucher that says, you know, you don't have to pay this.
Yeah.
But I pay into the system because I do want generally an educated public.
Yeah,
I disagree.
Smart kids.
Yeah, I mean that's our future generations. We've got to teach them critical thinking. We've got to teach them how to, you know, I want artists just as much as I want scientists, and I think art and sciences can be blended together, but we always separate them. And I don't know. It's anytime the government gets involved with anything in our lives, that has a tendency to be really, really messy, mucky.
Yeah, we don't need them. It's just so much.
So
it's
much
just
of
a
it.
waste. And I hope people wake up and figure some stuff out here, that our government's not trying to help us. They're lying to us. You know, I mean, just the incentives over giving the COVID vaccine. An incentive. That kind of sounds like a bribe to me.
Yeah, and this is a time when a lot of doctors' offices couldn't have people come in, or all the elective procedures that people would have were closed down. So they weren't even generating income. And then they're told if they give this jab, we'll pay you money. Well, if you're trying to run your own doctor's office, which is a business, and suddenly you're out of revenue and you find this new way of making revenue, who wouldn't do it? Because you got to keep the doors open. It's how you make your living.
Yeah, an incentive. And hey, and again, if people died because they didn't have a procedure done or they couldn't get to the hospital, it's just a COVID death anyways.
And the way that was recorded, like there's so
and
much
they
of
just
that.
tell us the truth. It's ridiculous. You're too stupid.
Did you see Fauci's testimony on the Hill yesterday? They had him up. Jeff Jordan from Ohio was asking him questions. Did you ever tell the public that and I'm paraphrasing, that you were the rules that you were setting for them was based on science? And he essentially starts dodging the question. He goes, a lot of what we were coming up with, I didn't. And again, I'm paraphrasing. He was saying he didn't give the idea for, even though he said they were his direct rulings, meaning, you know, the 6 foot distance, when you should be doing what you're doing. And it was all arbitrary. And he's trying to deny that was the case. So imagine all the businesses that they shut down, where they got to pick winners and losers all of a sudden, right? And if you owned a gym, you could go to the liquor store and it'd be fine, but you couldn't go to a gym?
Yeah, I mean, our government, oh goodness, it needs an overhaul. It needs an overhaul. And, you know, let's hope that happens at some point, because it doesn't look like it did with the founding fathers. And I think, you know, keep it simple. And we just have more government agencies, more money. It's ridiculous of what they're doing. I don't think the Ukraine, again, why are we giving all these? They're so corrupt. What is this stuff that our government's doing?
It makes me wonder who's actually in charge of the United States right now.
What's going on? So I hope people wake up. All right, guys, if you want to support the podcast, you can do that at shop.rmsdf.com. That really
helps us out. You can also get online training with us. ClearSky.Training is our training site, and check out our new brand of supplements coming soon. I've been this kind of a soft launch. For that, it is suckless.co, and you can get our brand of performance supplements. And kind of testing it out. We'll be doing a bigger launch here, but if you're listening to our podcast, you can get in on it now. If you're looking for anything from protein to just a good multivitamin, check it out. All right, guys, we'll talk to you next week.